Thank you all so much for stopping by today. So, y'all, we had a lot of rain to come. So, I know over the next couple of days, everything is just going to start growing super fast, blooming, and looking beautiful. Now, we're not quite at the spring mark, but we're getting there. It is in March. Daylight savings times has passed, so I am able to spend a little bit more time outside. But what I want to share with you today is phase two of the garden, what we planted. But I really want you to stick around because I'm going to have to do something that I've already set up for, so that we can go ahead and protect some of our plants and also keep them from bolting too fast. So let's go ahead and let's get started. Okay, so one of the things that I really like to do is kind of like at the beginning of the week is just write down everything that I want to accomplish, whether it's inside or outside, just so I can stay on task because I'm easily to get off task. And so that I don't get overwhelmed, I wanted to go ahead and just raised bed by raised bed, in-ground bed by in-ground bed, just go ahead and start working, weeding, doing all of these different things. So what we did was phase two of the garden. And if you've been with us for a while, we are going on 2 years here at the new location. And so we started out with phase one. Then later on, a few months later, we went to phase two and the herb garden. So that's what you'll probably hear me refer this as. If you hear something in the back with all of the rain, the sump pump is working, but you may hear some noises, but don't worry about it. Let's focus on the garden. And so we're going to start right here with our containers. So one of the things that I did was cut back the salvia. So these are salvias, they're perennials. So we cut those back, and then we added some new annual flowers. We have the violas, and then we also have some snapdragon. This one right here just want to act, but we just going to keep going. Now, these are our strawberry containers that I wanted to grow, and I'm going to kind of pan over here because it's strawberry, some violas, strawberries, violas. But what I'm going to do in the upcoming weeks is I'm going to put berry tone by Espoma. It's a slow release fertilizer. So we're going to put that in here, and we're going to see how this does. We have a lot of birds every day, but I'm okay with letting the birds have a little bit of strawberry because we also have Berry Lane, which we created, that currently has strawberries, blackberries, and blueberries in them. So let's go ahead and get started with this area right here. We had some fall planted snapdragons, so now they're starting to take form, take shape. I cut back the phlox, which is a perennial, so you may be able to see a little bit coming back up right here. Our daylilies are starting to come back up. And then our alliums right here are starting to come back up. I want to say this is called millennial. It's by Proven Winners. I will try to flash the picture on the screen so that you can see. But here is the thing, y'all. So we have wild onions that grow in the yard, but I also planted some alliums. And I really want to say this is not one that I planted, but these are some that I planted that are coming up. But I don't want to pull them until I can really differentiate which one is which. Also, we had some salvia that we cut back. Now, here's the thing. So we planted salvia in the garden last season. So we had a annual type salvia. We also had a perennial type salvia. Now, this one in the middle, they actually said it was an annual type, but if you can look right here, they're actually starting to come back. So hopefully by the time the snapdragons are done, the salvias will come back because it really was pretty, a really pretty purple. And then we can put some more annuals right here. So in the in-ground garden beds, I am doing a mix of perennials and annuals. And so with that, we'll just go ahead and segue over to this one, and what I tried to do was make a defined line, get a lot of weeds out of here. Y'all know I don't call them weeds, plants that I don't want in this area. We got those up, and we have some bee balm right here. We also have some Dusty Miller, but then we have some other types of salvia. These are the perennial salvias that are coming back. And then we have the phlox over here that is also coming back. Now, if you remember, one of the things that I shared with y'all is when we were in the Savannah area, I could leave my dahlias in the ground and they would come back every year. But we also had sandy soil. Now with the clay soil, I did cut the dahlias back, so I'm gonna see if they come back this year once it warms up. But just moving right along, we have like a phlox that doesn't get very tall, that is right here. And then we also have more bee balm that is coming up and another phlox. So this is all part of like phase one. I am going to probably switch out these because you remember we're doing strawberries, the violas, and then the strawberries again and the violas all the way on the end. And our next task is we're going to switch out these containers here that leads to the entry of the garden. Okay, so let's go bed by bed. We have 4 raised beds. These beds are 4 feet by 8 feet. So they're 4 feet wide, 8 feet long, and 24 inches in height. And so all of these beds are partially what we grew from seed, some plants that I picked up from transplant. So they're a mixture. I always tell you all, I do a mixture of all. I love starting seeds because a lot of times, depending on where you're at, the garden center sells what sells or what's popular. But by starting your own seeds, you can really just kind of branch out and just grow things that you normally wouldn't find. So right here, like right here, these are some alyssum that we started from seed. And then we have pansies. So we have the white alyssum, then we have the pansies, and then here's some lettuce that's starting to grow that we also started from seed. And we have calendula, bachelor buttons in here that we started from seed. Now in the front we have red cabbage. This is supposed to be a quick growing red cabbage, probably about 55 days because we're in Georgia, zone 8A now. And what I will tell you is we really have a short window for spring, and then it immediately heats up. And although the calendar may say one date, it will feel like summer. So the front row, and let me just pause for a minute. Y'all, the way I garden is I combine flowers, vegetables, herbs. I like everything to grow cohesive, not only for the beauty, not only for the color, but also for the benefits that they add as far as pest control, being able to amplify taste of different vegetables. So this is how I do it. But we have some more violas in the front right here, and then we have the snapdragons in the back. These are going to get a little bit taller, if you all can see it. So they're going to get a little bit taller. It looks like this color is just not coming through, but it really is a pretty color. And then on the front, this time has been growing since we put up this phase 2. And then we have more violas. These are called bonbon calendula right here. So we have those. And then on the back side, we have some collards that are growing all here. And then we have bachelor buttons that's gonna like pop up and give us like a pretty blue color as well. So let's move to this bed because we've had a couple of cold nights that kind of dropped to like 28, then 30. But this week it's supposed to be upper 60s, lower 70s. And this happens in the spring for us, and it's totally fine. This is why I started out with cool weather plants, although you can see a little bit of damage, like wind damage, cold damage. This is more collards right here. These are called the flash collards. Now I started some celery from seed, which is really slow growing. I'm just gonna see if it's gonna take us through. So this whole row right here are celery. All of these are celery and collards. We have more bachelor buttons. We have the lime thyme, and then I put a couple of dill plants and a couple of, I thought I put arugula plants, but these may be, I think these are the bun calendula. So I started a lot of things from seed, and so yeah, these are calendula. So these are just like kind of, let's pop them in somewhere so that they can grow. Because I want to say this over here is this is the arugula that's right here that we started from seed, and it also took just a little bit of damage. So here is our next bed right here. Let me get around to the front. You'll see a lot of thyme that I have, but we got more thyme, more arugula, more bun calendula. What I didn't show you on this trellis right here, as well as right here, is we went ahead and direct sowed, you can see it right here, some sweet peas, the actual vegetable. So they are they will be popping up. I'm starting to see some now, probably this week. It's really a cool weather vegetable for us, but we're gonna let them trellis, and we moved them from one trellis to this one this year. But these are the sweet peas. They're really good, and they get really tall. I always have to say sweet peas the flower or sweet peas the vegetable. This is the vegetable, and so in the next few weeks they should be popping up and germinating, which I do see a few, but we have those both on this trellis as well as that trellis right here. And then we just have more arugula, more pansies. This is, I want to say this is the Asian mixed lettuce that we put here. We just got a lot of lettuce that we put, snapdragons, and then broccoli that is in the back. So this is this raised bed. I had a couple more. I must have had a whole bunch of calendula. Now we're growing the medicinal calendula that we're going to put in the herb bed, but these are more of just kind of like all calendulas are medicinals, but some have a little bit more medicine than others. So these are kind of like the ornamental types. They're not going to get very big. And then the fern leaf lavender, they took a little bit of damage from the cold, but you can still see some green right here. So they'll be coming back out, but we started those from seed. And then this is a plant that I would not like here, so we're going to go ahead and pull those out. So we have snapdragons that we repeated in the middle in the first two raised beds right here. So this last bed right here is a little bit bare because this whole back area is going to be carrots. So another thing that I like to do is I like to garden by the moon. We have a full moon coming up, and so all of this back here is going to be carrots. We got some snapdragons, foxley thyme. I just grow this for more ornamental purposes. We grow the other thyme to be able to harvest and use in our salad dressings and our cooking. But this one, I just love the way that this looks. And then we have more different types of lettuce right here. These are shallots that are coming up. These are fall planted. And then we just have some flowers and some sage right here. But this whole back area, it is going to be carrots. And I got one dahlia that I cut down, but I wanted to cut it like this so I would know what it is. I want to see if that comes up. I want to see what comes up in ground versus raised bed, or if anything comes up at all. Now, before I share with you what I am going to do to be able to make these 4 raised beds last longer, let me show you a bonus bed that I just planted up that's in ground that I'm telling y'all, this is going to be so pretty. Like, as when I was planting it, I was like, this is going to be an amazing gardening season this season. Okay, a little bit of damage because see, these are a little bit smaller. These are broccoli right here, but we did get a little bit of wind, cold damage, but that's okay. They're gonna bounce right back. But right here, I went ahead and planted this bed. So right back in the back, you have the broccoli, then you have yarrow. But this is more of an ornamental yarrow. Yarrow is another one that you can use for medicinal, but these are, it's more like a pink one. I'll make sure that I keep you all posted. But I'm not growing these for medicinal purposes. We got our grow oil that is right here that we filled up. This bed is not irrigated, so I use my grow oil to be able to irrigate the soil from underneath. Then these right here are our garlic chives, and then we have some violas in the front that we put here. This is going to be a really pretty bed once it's started. The only thing that we're going to do over the gardening season is we are going to probably switch out, once we're done with the broccoli, we'll switch that out, and then we'll also switch out the flowers, the violas in the front, and change those. But the garlic chives and the yarrow, those are going to stay. Okay, so if you're not subscribed, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. We've got 2 raised beds of 4 planted in phase 1 of the garden, but we're going to go ahead and get those done, and then I'll do another video on that. I also want to plant the containers as well, but I just want to let y'all see the whole phase as we're getting ready, as we're switching out plants. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Okay, so you all remember when I said I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, because we have a really short spring here, and I don't want my leafy greens like my cabbage and my collards and my broccoli to bolt, because some of my fall planted greens are starting to bolt and go to seed, but I'm okay with that. But one of the things I'm going to do, these are supports that are right here, and so what we're going to do is we're going to take these supports and we are going to drape them with shade cloth. This is going to help protect the leafy greens, the cool weather greens, from these harsh sun rays, and try to prevent them from bolting. So let me show you how I'm going to do it. So these are just some little clamps that we got from Harbor Freights, and then I have some shade cloth. It's 50% shade cloth that I'm going to put on. Now at first it's going to be a little bit of work, because I'm going to have to, you know, take them down, pull them up and then pull them down at the during the day, and maybe in the evening and in the morning, depending on my work schedule, we will adjust like this. But I don't want them to bolt. I want them to continue to grow. So let me show you how it's going to look when I'm done. And so I've bought enough supports for this phase 2. So we're going to do all of these, and basically I just have 3 supports, and you can use wire too. We have one of those that we'll probably put in the in-ground beds, but I just want to put something over it to try to prevent them from bolting just long enough so we can harvest and eat, and then by that time we should be ready for our heat-loving vegetables. So I wanted to show you really quickly what one looks like with the trellis. And so the ones with the trellis, we're not going to worry about the flowers up front, and then one without the trellis are these. And so basically what I'm going to do is, when it's time to let them get some of the sun, I am going to remove one side, the long side, and just, let me show you all real quick. We're just gonna like flip it back. We're not gonna remove all of the clamps when we do this, just enough so that when it is time for it to get some sun, all we have to do is just like take it, flip it over, and let the raised bed get the sun that it needs. Hold on, one got stuck. Just like this. It can still get the sun, and then when the sun is intense, we're just going to flip this back over. So we're going to leave those clamps on the back right here, and we're just going to flip it over, and we'll do this until, you know, we get a good harvest, able to harvest it, able to, you know, start putting our heat-loving plants. But this is going to protect it from bolting and going to seed. So we're going to end up doing this for all of our raised beds, because we're putting still a lot of cool weather vegetables like cabbage and collards and broccoli in there. And so we don't want them to bolt, and we don't want them to go to seed. Really quickly, I'll show you a fall planted one that has went to seed. So this is the spinach mustard right here. And when they bolt and go to seed, y'all, sometimes the greens can get really bitter. Now, if I wanted to, I could let it, and this is probably gonna be the very last bed that we flip, but if I wanted to, I can go ahead, let the pollinators pollinate it, because what this is these are eventually going to turn to seed pods right here. But what I'm going to tell you is I got a whole bunch of spinach mustard seeds already. So this will be my last bed, but we will probably just go ahead and pull it. But this is a good way for you to save your seed. If you're not in a hurry, you want to save seed, you want to make sure that it's open pollinated or it's heirloom, let it go to seed. These are going to eventually be seed pods. I like to let mine dry on the plant and then I'll harvest it. But this is like one of the beds, or this is one of the plants that was fall planted, and then because of the heat, it bolted and it went to seed. I'm going to continue to put the shade cloths on these next two beds right here so we can go ahead and get them protected. But as always, thank you all so much for watching this video. Make sure you share this video with your family and your friends. And if you're not a subscriber, go ahead, tap the subscribe button. Make sure you tap the bell so that you can receive notification each and every time we upload a new video. Again, thank you all so much for watching. And until the next video, bye-bye.